too much time. So now I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to run down the head. Let's put the knife blade side down, fool. Ah! Yeah, I was digging and digging and digging with this knife, the scalpel, hemostats, with the pliers, and it was going nowhere. I was not getting any purchase and getting any further down the toes, so I'll get through them after they've gone through a pickle and probably the wet tan. That's enough of solution immersion to hopefully soften those leg bones. Worst comes to worst, I'll make a little incision on the underside of each paw, pull out the bone, put sculpting epoxy in there, pose the toes, and close it with CA glue. It's come a little way since the days of Akeley and Leon Prey, where you had to use fine stitches to close said details of the feet and whatnot. I think I'm at the I'm approaching the base of the ears. This is part of the salivary gland system here. Let me put a good sharp edge on this blade here. I want to be able to get through this without damaging the skin. There we go. Oh, there. That's nice. That's nice. That's nice. Now that's a sharp blade. That's nice. That's nice. Nice and sharp. Turn them around, get the other side. All right. I'm trying to leave as much flesh, again, on the skull and the carcass. So far, I don't see any bruising around the base of the neck or the skull. Now this, I just obviously cut something. So, but that's not bruising. That's not the kind of bruising we saw on the foreleg, where it obviously was a broken bone in there. Okay, now we're at the base of the ears here. Okay. Let's try the scalpel here. I need a little finer knife to take the stuff away. Now. I'm going to change the scalpel blade. I need a sharper blade, so I'm going to change the blade. All right. There's the ear tube on this otter, on the otter, is apparently very long. I'm going to right down to the skull and cut it free. Oops. Whoops. Okay, this explains a lot of the blood that was oozing out of this animal. Okay. Let me get a cotton ball in there. Okay, there we go. Blocked up with a piece of cotton ball, and I'm going to take the ear canal out go. Here we are. Okay. Now I got to remember the glass eyes are still in the eye sockets, all right? They're still in there. Yes, they are. Let me get the ear canal detached from the opposite side now. First thing you do is work the tissue away, like so. Like this. And get to it. There's a long, long ear canal here. And be careful how I wield this knife around. This is a brand new, spanking brand new, sharp knife. Now I'm going to get ready for this to start bleeding. I've got cotton at the ready. Okay. All right. Here we go. Here we go. Now loosen up some of the connective tissue here. Boom, boom, boom. There we are. I get a little bit of cotton into here before it starts oozing out. I'm just packing it around the opening. I'm not even putting it up into the ear canal. I'm just packing it around the opening. I'm just going to wipe off the blood that's come down on this bad boy here. Just keeping it clean for TV. Keeping it clean for the camera, folks. All right. Their ears are pretty far back on their head. Now we're going for the eyelids. You want to be very, very, very careful. You want to stay close to the bone. Getting the eyelids. I want to stay close to the bone. Like so. Now having it inside out like this for this length of skin where I cannot see the face on an animal I don't know how it was dispatched or how it died. I'm just going real slow around the fact. Okay, I can feel the back of the eye socket. That's right here. It's the back of the eye socket right there. I'm keeping it tight against. Now don't forget, this side was already disconnected from the skull with the insertion of the CITES tag. So I just want to be real careful. In fact, I think I'm going to go for a regular knife here. I think the scalpel might be a little too sharp and cuts just a little too exact. I want to be a little more, or I can just kind of scoot along with a knife blade. It's sharp enough to cut the connective tissue, but not sharp enough to actually cut the skin. I hope. Now that's the eye socket. Well, that's part of the structure of the eye socket right there. So I want to keep it tight, right against the bone. Now there's the eyeball. That's the animal's actual eyeball. A lot better, right there. Okay, there's the eyeball right there. So we know we've got that exposed. Now I want to take away, let me grab hold of the skin, especially on this side because everything has been cut away already. It's where the CITES tag went, remember. All right. Oh, Brother Ray. Oops! Come back, little Shishka. Okay, now I'm carefully cutting the eyelid away from the eye, and the camera's not getting it because where I've got it pulled towards me. And here you can see it now. There's the eyeball. This is the eyelid structure right here. Now. Whoops, come back, little Shishka. I'm going to hold on to this eyelid real well here now. I think the glass eye may have fallen down into the sock puppet that is the otter skin. Okay, now remember, the knife for insertion of the CITES tag came up through the side gum up into the eye opening, but there is the entire eyelid left intact, all right? It does not destroy the eyelid. Those who complained to the person that trapped these animals, stop it. Just stop being a whiny baby, because you're just proving your BS stupidity, all right? Now I'm going to get in here. I'm going to hold this steady again. I'm going to get this loose. There's the nictitating membrane on the otter right there. And there we go. Against the bone. Get the knife. There we go. There we go. Now, the back of the lip is here. This is the rear edge of the lip. I'm going to cut through against the bone. Okay.
She said in her little autobiography that families practiced a kind of neighborly socialism, and I think by that she meant that it was, as her mother said, share and share alike.
There we go. This is where the CITES tag went through. She cut up through the gum, and then continued up past the eyelid. Did not cut the eyelid proper. All right. Here we go. Now remember, during the measuring process, I injected the lips with the Chemol 4 solution because the lips are also very freezer dried. Here we go. Okay, I'm gonna skin around the opposite eye off camera. All right. I decided to cut them down from the skinning gambrel. And that's going to do two things. It's going to allow me to turn the head the way I want without a lot of interference. And it's going to stop the leaking of the blood out of the dead head. Now with him on the table, it's just, for me, it's a lot easier to go along and continue skinning. Now, we're going to find the edge of the eye on the side that has not been cut for the CITES tag, okay? Simple matter, when you reach the eyelid, you feel, this is the zygomatic arch right here. You feel for this bone. You know where the corner of, where the back of the mouth is. Simply pinch. Take a pinch between the thumb and finger. Seriously, take a pinch, and you will know that you're holding the eyelid. I think that's a better camera angle. Once you reach the back of the eye, and you can feel the back of the eye socket structure, you can pinch the skin of the eye socket together. Pinch it together and start cutting against the bone. Okay. Oh, much better. Okay. Put a little edge on here. There we go. Now we bring this forward. Here's the eyeball again, just like we saw before. We cut the membrane that's laying across the eye, and we know that we're past the back of the rear edge of the eyelid. We're past it. Okay. Oh, there's the glass eye. That's the glass eye from the good side. Well, the side that was not pre-cut. All right.
Turkish officials are complaining about the State Department's summary of their foreign minister's meeting with Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Though Pompeo is standing by it.
I reread the readout of our meeting. Why?
That readout says Pompeo warned his Turkish counterpart.
All right, let me see. I need a hemostat here. No, not a hemostat. Tweezers will do.
In Syria, Foreign Minister Mevlut Cavusoglu
Grab hold of the skin and pull it along here. I want to make sure that I'm not cutting any of the eyelid. I don't mind cutting the connective tissue. I want to avoid cutting the eyelid. And like I said, on the other side, the eyelids are intact. The eyelids were not damaged by cutting through for the CITES tag. Now that is law. That is the way it's supposed to be done. That's the way trappers are instructed on animals that need the CITES tag. That's where they're placed. I've gotten in North American mountain lions, cougars, CITES tagged the same way, through the eye. That's the best place. You want to start, putting it through the nose? That's ridiculous. You don't want to do that, unless you're one of these guys who likes to use the fake, the plastic noses, which is really plastic noses are what you use for toy teddy bears and things, and fake animals, fake fur animals. Okay, here we go. Here we go. We are now past the, you can see on the clean side that doesn't have a lot of juice coming out from where it was removed from the face. Okay, I'm going to go to the rear of the lips again.
Landmark institution has a storied history. That story began even before March 28, 1919, when a group of notable Dayton residents signed letters of incorporation to establish what was then.
I'm just taking away some of the connective tissue
Over the next 100
before I reach down to the lips. Now you can feel the teeth of the lower jaw. You can feel the teeth on the upper jaw. You go to the back of that connection and you've got the rear of the mouth. You go back here with your knife and cut through the back of the mouth. Free up the lips at the rear of the mouth. And you've got that. Now, just like skinning any other specimen, we go along the lip line. We're going to stay close against the bone. Yes, even for a carcass cast, I'm staying close against the bone. I'd much rather leave as much. I'd much rather leave as much flesh as I can on the skull, but I'm not going to sacrifice the face for that. This can be sealed with clay, and then after the mold is made and the clay is pressed into the mold, and the skull is utilized, it's a simple matter for me to sculpt up the details in clay. But you do want to skin it for taxidermy purposes. That means we need to do certain things and do them right. Okay, let me turn them over again. Okay. All right. Let's get this like so.
What I can tell you is the special counsel himself is not engaging in these reports of Robert Fuller. He is not talking, not commenting. It's not clear.
All right, here we go. Now we go along and we're going to take this forward. Here we go.
The Attorney General Bill Barr also said the special counsel did not establish a criminal conspiracy between the Trump campaign and the Russian government. But the Mueller report is nearly 400 pages long.
All right.
We've only seen a few quotes from the report itself. Understandably, people want to see. They want more information. And it's possible.
Okay. Now, we're coming to the end of the face, and I can feel right now it's very dry, just like the other details have been dry. So, I'll just roll him around a little bit. Isn't that cute? He picks up the knives, stick to him, and he picks them up and turns them around for me. What a good little fella. Swallow. Okay. This is where the cut through was made, right here. Up into there. I say the eyelids are intact. I'm going to go along the jawbone, disconnecting the lip skin as I go. On both the bottom, or the lower and upper lips. There we go. There we go. Now, you can see how dry that is. All right, it's time to employ the syringe yet again. You can see it enlarging as the solution is introduced to the dry skin. There we go. And in here as well. There we go. Okay. Now, I got my finger through the lip skin of the lower jaw, pulling forward as I cut. cutting against the bone. Now, in a situation where you've got some freezer burn, it's imperative that you cut against the bone and not against the skin.
Well, he's tweeting, and he said in a tweet today, the New York Times had no legitimate sources, which would be totally illegal concerning the Mueller report.
Here we go.
In fact, they probably had no sources at all, exclamation point. Said,
And there we are. And you see how nicely that's coming away.
clearly the president is bothered
I'm trying to keep my my fingers out of the way here. Okay, let's get a little more light on the subject now, which is good for me and you, the viewer.
that they are saying just wait for the report,
Tight against the teeth.
think that anything in the report will over
The knife blade is tight against the teeth as I go around the front. I'm going to flip him over again so I can get this side of the mouth. Again, I'm going to pull on the lips as I skin,
saying that he is completely exonerated and vindicated,
pull the
delusion is over.
lip skins away from
General Barr in his
the lower jaw.
say that Mueller's report found no conspiracy or coordination between Trump, Corbett, and
I get a little paper towel here, dry some of this moisture up so I can get a better grip. Right now it's not so much greasy as it is really wet. And I want you guys to be able to see what I'm doing too.
but it also did not exonerate him. That is, in essence, the special counsel didn't weigh in on that.
Let's turn it sideways to see if that doesn't give you all a better view of what I'm doing. I hope so. Come on, boy, sit still. Come on, buddy, sit still. Thank you.
He is going to visit that border in California tomorrow. Over the weekend, he said he would shut it down. Where does that stand now?
Right. He actually said over the weekend that he would shut it down this week. Well, guess what? He is not shutting it down this week. He's hedging. One could say he's
Okay.
indefinitely postponed.
I want to get the lower jaw disconnected before I worry about
He made that threat. Mexico
the upper jaw.
preventing migrants from entering the U.S. And it's not clear where he's getting that from, but he added this afternoon that the U.S. still needs Mexico's help, both with immigration and with illegal drugs. And then he added this.
We give them a one-year warning, and if the drugs don't stop or largely stop, we're going to put tariffs on Mexico and products. In particular,
Drop dead, Trump. You're not going to be around in a year, you pig.
with many countries as well.
And here we go. Now we're cutting it away. Remember how tightly I showed it adhered just in front of the incisors? All the weasel clan is like that. Cats are like that. Everything from a house cat, size cat, bobcat, lynx, cougar.
Really, at this point, because of free trade,
Now African lions have got large lips, so I wouldn't put them in the same category as far as how tight the lip skin is against the lower incisors. There will be more reference photos in this video as we go along as well. It's just going back and forth from one side to the other, one side to the other, until we meet in the middle. Once the middle is met, we've got our lower jaw freed from the skull. This is a large otter. This is a large ass otter. Now I'm going to go along, I'm going to separate the rest of the lip skin from the skull, the upper lips, I should say, the upper face from the skull. I'm going to come in from the bottom, like so. Almost like when I do a deer. And I start working from the front back. I'm going to do that here, like so. I'm going to reposition him. We'll keep going. Here we go. Now we're going to go along. Be very careful. Be very aware. Well, let's put it this way. They have got a face full of whiskers, otters. All right? A face full of whiskers. And this pad here contains the whisker roots. As you go along, you can actually dissect Depends on how careful you want to be. I want to be careful. I've always done it this way. I've always been very careful. I'm going to keep the heavy meat, as much meat as possible, on the skull. All right? We're on the other side.
In a country that changed its constitution so that you couldn't drink, and then realized that was a bad idea and changed it back. We have the mechanisms to do this responsibly.
I'll turn him on his side completely here. Completely. All right. All right. Now we go along, singing a song, side by side. Here we go. Okay, I think when the face was cut into to install the CITES tag, we got a lot of blood over here. So, because I don't see any bullet holes in the head, the skull does not appear to be crushed at all. I just think there was a lot of bloodletting when the CITES tag was installed. That's all. Now we're going to go far forward on the nose, rather to get to the nose cartilage. Going to expose the nose cartilage. You see how flexible that nose cartilage is, okay? I'll turn him over again one more time. Come on, big guy, roll over. Roll over. Didn't know I could teach a dead otter roll over, did you? Neither did I. All right. Go along here. Cut this connective tissue loose. All right. Go up here. The underside. Go forward. Just simply pushing against the nose from the outside. I want to expose the bottom side just a little more. Pick them up and hold them. All right. Okay. Now, you see what I've got here. You can see where the nose is here on the outside. All right. I'm going to come forward a little more on this side of his schnoz, his hunker. Over there. Come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. We got to get this so that the peoples can see it. Stop being so silly. All right.
Selling business insurance tailored to fit the needs of each small business. Quotes and information on insurance policies are available at hiscox.com. Hiscox, encourage courage. From Focus Features, presenting The Mustang, from executive producer Robert Redford, starring Bruce Willis and Matthias Reynolds as a convict and father searching for redemption.
Okay.
Training wild horses. Inspired by
Here we go.
in select theaters. From Americans for the Arts.
I want to expose the top of the nose cartilage.
Health insurance in the last few years. That works out to 1 in every 8. Means for children enrolled in 2 state programs, 10 Care, the state's Medicaid program, and Cover Kids, which covers low-income families that make too much money to qualify for Medicaid. Reporter Brett Collins wrote this story for the Tennessee and he's here with Sal on the program.
All right. Let's check this on the outside. Going along beautifully. All right, I think it's time we disconnect the nose cartilage. Okay.
What did you find was the explanation? Why were these children missing?
All right, now, very carefully, you want to cut through, and I'm going to use my paring knife for this.
Properly respond to renewal that is sent out once a year to make sure there's no problem. And if you don't return that paperwork, you are automatically disqualified.
You heard from lots of parents who didn't know that they lost coverage until they took their sick kids to the doctor. Can you tell us one of those stories?
Let's put an edge on this. It's obviously not cutting through. Nose cartilage is a little tough, as well as being a little freezer dried. All right, let's use the scalpel. Just making sure when I cut through. There we go. All right.
When you reached out to 10 Care,
All right, here we are.
what was their explanation?
All right. This is where we actually turned the nose skin here. And during the flushing, I will split the nose cartilage, and after it comes back from the tannery, okay, the nose cartilage will be removed, and the natural nose will be used in the mount. I cannot stand using these plastic noses. Maybe they have a place, maybe not for me, not for me. We have skinned ourselves a North American River Otter. Okay, the brown color of the skin is because it's just got a lot of fat on it, right? Doesn't mean it's gone bad or anything. It's just got a lot of fat. And what I did for the dried tail, I wet down, soaked some cotton with the Chemo 4 solution, and the tail is now beautifully hydrated, okay? The best thing about this will allow me to scrape the tail skin. Remember I said I had a tail scraper? Well, this is the Jonas Brothers tail scraper. It's quite a vintage piece of equipment. I don't know if it's still sold, but this works great for taking off the tendons and the flesh off the tail skin. It's great for breaking it up. If not actually fully removing it, it at least breaks it up. You could use the side. The side is flat. There is a non-sharp, I don't know how else to call it, but it's a non-sharp edge on this tool. All right, it runs all the way around. But look at what it did here. I tried to do this when the tail was dry, and it was really kind of scary to do it when it was dry. I was afraid it might break something, like the tail. But then you can go along with this, and you can use this to scrape the heavy fat off the tail. All right. You can use this, or you can, well, actually, you can do this on the beam. That would be your best bet. But still, it breaks up that fatty fat that's on there. You could use it also around on the skin itself. Not really so much. It's really, what it's good for is for the heavy cartilage situations on the tails of raccoons and otters and whatnot. I mean, right now this tail looks beautiful. And what I'll do is I'm going to put this in the fridge overnight. I'm going to wrap the tip of this tail in some cotton saturated with the Chemo 4 solution. Actually, I'm going to put this piece of cotton back in here like so. I'm going to squirt it down. Really going to soak the hell out of it. Going to let this cotton really absorb it. I'm going to turn it over the tip and bundle it up, bunch it up. And I'm going to refrigerate this overnight. I'm also going to do the same thing with the feet. I'm going to spray the feet skins and soak them with the cotton, as I just did with the tail. Where's my cotton balls? I actually have roll cotton now that if you want to buy roll cotton, don't try to find it locally. It ain't going to happen. We found it from some online sellers. Many times I've discovered you can find it from tack shops. You can get it for tack shops because in the world of horse ownership, you use cotton to help to pack hooves, to pack salves on the bottom of a hoof, to wrap around, to help wrap under bandages for wounds. You can also use it for, you can put it under a bandage to give a nice soft support under a bandage. You wrap a horse's leg. So roll cotton can be purchased in several places. Online you can find it from State Line Tack. I think it's like $3 a roll. We got this from an online seller. This is non-sterile, the cotton we bought, but it's this has paper wrapped around the cotton roll. Okay? This has paper. It looks like a yo-yo or the cotton wrapping that you get from a tack supply for horses does not generally have paper, which is why it's not quite as, doesn't cost quite as much. But I'm going to wrap this around the feet. I'm really going to soak the hell out of this. I want this sopping wet. Same thing with this other side here. I'm going to unroll another cotton ball. For the other foot, I'm going to do this with the hind feet as well. I want to really hydrate them. I'm not even going to say rehydrate them. I want them to be hydrated. And the best way to do it, roll the dry cotton on first. It's dry and it tends to stick where it's put. Then you can take your spray bottle and wet it down, soak it. Now I use Chemol 4. Why do I use Chemol 4? You hear me mention Chemol 4, the use of it a lot. Chemol 4 is a low pH type of soap. It's a surfactant. It makes water wetter. And what that does, it tends to allow you to hydrate better than anything else by itself. I'm going to take the back feet. We're going to spread them out like so. Put them bottom side up. All right. I'm going to spray the pads. Spray the pads first. Now I'm going to take some cotton balls. Yeah, this is old school, but you know what? Old school rules, everything else drools. It works. That's the most important thing. It works. These methods work, and they work beautifully. Now, I'm going to put 2 cotton balls for each foot. Make sure it's thoroughly wrapped. And then I'm going to soak it all down really super well. That's going to allow this to soak into the toes so that when I turn it inside out again for salting, I should be able to get in there, with a small knife tip and be able to further remove any bones and gristle, possibly even get down to the foot pads and scrape them out. If that can't be done before salting, it'll be done after it comes back from the tannery. You can do a lot with a wet tan skin. A lot. And it's best to get otters wet tanned. I think I mentioned this during one part of the video. My tanner explained to me that the hair can become singed. Singed. It'll have the appearance that it's been singed if it goes through a drumming process. And that makes sense. That does make sense. It's the kind of hair that tumbling can actually damage. And I'd rather not damage the hair. I love the way the raccoon. I love the way river otter hair looks. The softness of it. It's a beautiful, 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 beautiful coat of fur. Now, just for the heck of it, I'm going to put some wet cotton over the nose pad and on the inside of the nose as well. I want to make sure that this is well saturated. I want to make sure his nose is well satchmoed. No offense meant to Louis Armstrong. I love the guy. I'm going to go in, come back out, and over the nose. Now I'm going to hold it, pinch it between my fingers and thumb, and I'm just going to soak it. Very nice. Now, I'm going to take the skin with all of its little cottonized parts. I'm going to put the cottonized parts on the inside of the skin. Okay. And I'm going to just roll this up like so. Okay. Here's the little feetsies. I'm going to tuck the feet in like so. And like so. I want this tucked in. I'm going to wrap this in a piece of plastic. And I'm going to refrigerate this. The carcass, at this point, because it was being out and worked on for so many days, the carcass is a little on the dry side as well. I'm going to refrigerate it also overnight. I'm going to spray it. I'm going to spray the features, the hands. Wherever you see that the meat is dark, like on the arms, the hind legs, you see how dry the feet have become? This I'm going to use the rolled cotton on. And I'm going to refrigerate this bad boy as well. Because tomorrow, I'm going to continue my measurements on the carcass. I want to get the measurements of the rear thighs, and I want to check my measurements of the carcass against my measurements done while the skin was intact. Look at the size of these choppers, would you? Get a load of this. I just bought a little otter skull not too long ago, and the teeth are nowhere near this size. Look at the size of them choppers. Good grief. Here's a big boy. Anyway, I want to do some comparative measuring on the carcass. So he's going to go in the fridge overnight. I'm going to wrap both he and the skin up in plastic. Nice heavy-duty black plastic bag. Put them in the fridge and get back to them tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to split the lips and whatnot on the skin. Take it to the beam. I'm going to flush as much as I can off of it. Then I'm going to take it out to my salt rack. I'm going to salt it. I'm going to hang it up on a wire stretcher. And then I'll tend to the carcass. I'm going to park the carcass. So that's it for now. Okay. So there we have it. Measured and skinned a North American River Otter. I'll show splitting the lips and whatnot and the eyelids I'll show you that there is an eyelid there to split, that it was not destroyed with the insertion of the CITES tag. I'll go over the carcass, measuring it real quick, comparing the measurements that I took on the animal before he was skinned to the carcass after he's been skinned. So until that time, adios amigos, see you then.